So I surprised Michael as I often do, because I recorded a episode of a podcast this morning with my podcasting partner, and something came up in there, and I wanted to. It made me think of Michael, and he doesn't know what it is. I'm going to ask him about it, what I'm going to bring up, but I'm just going to talk about it and then ask Michael for his thoughts. So I'm going to give you the really, really brief version of what I talked about, which is that last week, almost exactly at this time, my 22-year-old daughter was pregnant, and the decision was made that she needed to terminate the pregnancy for more reasons that I need to go into here. And it was an incredibly challenging process in the 3 or 4 weeks leading up to the termination, and were changes in the laws, and my daughter and my ex-wife, and it was just a wrenching. We were 7 hours at the hospital, and by the time it was all done, I came home, and my nerve, as I told my wife, my nerve endings were so close to the surface that I couldn't even be in my own skin. I couldn't be around anybody. I just couldn't be around anybody. I couldn't take any stimulation. All I wanted to do was go in the woods and walk the dog, come back, wait, cool off, go in the woods and walk the dog. And and then the next morning I woke up and it was even more acute. And Saturdays are normally the mornings Julie and I, my beloved wife, and I just lay in bed and we catch up on the week, and we laugh and we joke and maybe listen to something. But we were laying there, and I wanted to just jump out of my own skin. I couldn't stand to be in my own skin. And even her presence was too much for me and I wanted to stay there with her and honor her and just be with her. But I couldn't, my body was there. And both of us, Julie and I, are both wise enough or mature enough to know that I just had to feel what I felt and not make it wrong, but just to welcome what I was feeling and to be with it. And finally I said, and this is getting, Michael, now we're getting to the point that I want your thoughts on, is I said, Julie, I'm sorry, I have to go. I can't be anywhere with anyone right now. And she said, that's fine. If that's what you're feeling, go with it. She said, but I want you to know that I'm here as a soft place to land.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a choice. I literally, like a physical choice. I could flip out towards the side of the bed and go grab the dogs, or I could flip back into the offer that was there to just be in contact and be in rapport with my best friend and my life partner and my wife, make it legal too. And I chose wisely. And as soon as I did, amazing. And I wasn't looking for relief or release. I was just accepting an offer. It's like everything just cleared. It was just a clearing. It was like a different reality. It's like what happened in the past was now in the past. And whatever residue there was still going to be there, but I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't stuck in it. And as I thought, the reason I thought about you when I said that is just the whole safety thing. And
Mm-hmm.
what a soft place to land means, what that can mean in life, and what it means in terms of the world in which you work your magic.
Wow. Yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful story, right? And so much in there, with starting with how your body was reacting, right? And how it was ultra sensitive, and it was in such an unsafe, more threat-oriented physiology that it couldn't even see at that moment the love that your wife was offering. It was so biased and so overwhelmed that you just could not be with another. And you went with it, and you stayed with it, and you allowed yourself to sort of be with that enough that when she then, I think at the same time, she actually she stopped pressing, it sounds like, too. And she became actually safe with your discomfort.
Mm.
And that actually allowed her to express to you that I'm here if you want to land here. But she wasn't forcing anything on you. And that was a different approach. And so I'd say two things happened. Her physiology went into a different state that actually met you where you were, even more, even though before that she was intentionally wanting to meet you there, she was still in her own way triggered. And so she actually became a safe landing, and you went right there. I mean, that's for me, that's goosebump material. Like I'm getting goosebumps feeling that. Like just that is the epitome of trust and the epitome of two nervous systems that actually were able to regulate through that chaos and uncertainty and challenge and actually meet each other. And she was still grounded in a little more safety. You were still in more of a threat, but she met you at that same level and brought you back into, we're together on this. We are together. I'm not alone. I'm not handling this on my own. Maybe I've handled a lot of things in my past on my own, but actually I'm not on my own. I have you. And if I fall, you will catch me. Big difference. It's freaking awesome.
Michael, I'm so glad I shared this with you. And I haven't, up until today, I haven't really talked about it. Have had no desire to share it. It's not.
Hmm.
And so it's just that it just shows the place you have in my life and in my heart that I wanted to talk to you about this, in the detail. And something you said, it's a very beautiful distinction that there's a way that, and I think it gets into the empathy and compassion. Maybe you could talk a little about that. You were the first one to bring that up. That was so illuminating for me, that it wasn't as if I was entering her world. It was that she resonated or regulated in a way that I could land in my own safe world.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for bringing up the empathy and compassion. Initially, she was more in an empathic state. And for however she got there, she came into, when I said she found her own sense of safety, she wasn't feeling as triggered by your pain. She came into compassion, and you felt that. And you trusted that enough that through that connection, you found your own now sense of compassion. You found your own self-compassion, right? Compassion for you, but you also found compassion for probably your daughter, for life, for all of this in that moment, maybe even your ex-wife, right? And all of that. So, but that is so there's so much there, because the pathway to that was that your wife got into her state that supported compassion, which then you trust enough that you met, and then it opened that up for you, not versus just staying on your own,
Right.
versus just kind of navigating it. That's foundational. We really can't do this on our own.
And there's another distinction that you just made here that I realize there's so much freedom in this, and that's one reason I love the worlds in which we live, because it's
Mm-hmm.
world of freedom. It's freedom. It feels like, rather than I got to get to this or I got to do that or I got to respond this way. But in this case, when we're in it's like when you're with someone who's at a funeral, or they've had a tragedy, or they just got a diagnosis or something, and you go, what do I do? And you feel, I know my inclination, and I think others towards, in my experience, is I've got to go in there with you and say, I know how in sales, we call it feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt that way myself. Let me tell you what I found. And that's work, and it's artificial. But imagine, I'm just thinking how much better it is to just be a safe space without having to twist yourself into something that makes them think that you're actually in there with them.
Beautiful. Exactly. They don't want you in there with them. They want you to be the safe space, the buoy. It's like I'm in the water and I'm barely swimming. I'd rather you not barely swim next to me. I'd rather you be the buoy that I can hold on to. Oh, there we are. Okay, good. That's what, yeah. She was the buoy. And then you grabbed it. That's the cool thing too, is you moved into that. You held the buoy.
And maybe one more point, and we should do something. I don't know what to do with this. I mean, there's so much here that I want to
And
keep.
we'll share it. Yeah.
Is that there's a saying I don't know if mentioned during any of our conversations, but one of my uh, man I accepted as a teacher said that the the gross can't see the subtle, but the subtle can see the gross, meaning that when you're in when you're in a more sensitive, evolved, whatever you call it, relaxed state, you can see the world you came from. You can see what it's like to be crazy and to be this way. But when you're crazy, you can't see the other side. You only know the craziness. And I never could have imagined that there was as much ease, grace, finality, and I don't want to make it seem like it's done. Oh yeah, we got that done with. What's next? What's up for what's on the agenda this week? Obviously, we're humans, and this is a big deal. And I found myself in a state of ease and peace and love, including for my daughter, including for my ex-wife, for everyone, that I never could have imagined from where I was sitting before. And maybe this probably maybe lands more in your world, is how we are able to leave space for that which we cannot see, that is awaiting us if we take that step into the safe space.
Yeah. I mean, physiologically, when you moved into that safe physiology, you stripped away the fear, you stripped away the defenses, you stripped away the masking, and even the lens that sort of focuses in on all of the craziness that could occur, or tunnels in on, I have to make this happen. That's only coming out of a state that's already in a state of defense, already under some sort of threat. And when you remove all that, what's left is who you are, which is what I believe and what you believe, is this benevolent, loving, compassionate, kind, caring, patient, even human, accepting. So that to me is what you just revealed, that in this beautiful example. That was extremely challenging, extremely meaningful and important, and yet an opportunity to tap into that core of who we all really are.
And we as as a recovering spiritual practitioner, it's like, it's always that freedom is always only a breath away.
Mm-hmm.
It's closer than close. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think that, you and I had a little wrinkle in the relationship that was on me, and there was never a time when we held on to it. It was the same thing. Like, we knew, just the same way that that it's a benevolent, peaceful, beautiful, loving, collaborative world's there. And so whether the world's showing up that way or not, the experience of the truth of that world is only a breath away. And I think that's true in it's true in relationship. It's just a breath. When my wife calls the presumption of innocence, whatever it is, when you hold on to that space, then it's true individually and it's just true collectively. So I just want to, anyway, I don't know, just express my appreciation and also creating the trust in me where I could share this with you without even telling you what the hell I was going to talk about. So.
I'm honored. I really am honored that you shared that.
All right. Well, we'll gavel this one down, and we'll just go back to whatever it was we thought we were going to do today. All right. Thanks.